Yo, what is going on, YouTube? We're going to get into the LEC All-Pro teams. We're going to take a look at this and react to some of what's going on. These got, I think, announced a couple of days ago, August 19th. I'm recording this on August 21st. We're also live streaming this on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. Come hang out. So, yeah, we're going to be, reacting to this with chat and everything. And the LEC teams, they definitely surprise me because if we look at the All-Pro first team, we will see 4 Mad Lions players, just one single G2 player. And if you had to guess one G2 player that made the All-Pro team, would Broken Blade be your first guess? I think it's a little bit crazy, and some people have definitely had tons of thoughts and opinions about this, because when you pull up the LEC standings, you will see that G2 and Mad Lions both finished 12-6, and then they only finished 1 game above Rogue and Misfits. They only finished 2 games above an Excel and Fnatic. It's not like Mad Lions had some kind of dominant split. It's not like Mad Lions was clearly the best team in the LEC and had all the best players and deserved probably 4 out of the 5 first team spots. People thought this was pretty crazy. So I wanted to go through some of these and kind of give my thoughts and opinions. So when you look at the top lane, they have Broken Blade as the first team. They have Alphari as the second team. They have Odo as third. This I probably have the least problems with. I think Broken Blade has been really good for G2 since he's come over. And overall, I think the competition in the top lane in the LEC is not that great. Was Alphari insane this year? Not really. I mean, he did the same stuff he always does. He had insane CSD. He gained a bunch of early game leads and stuff, and he didn't always transition those super well. But I think Alphari was good. I think, he's deserving of probably a top 3 slot. Who else are you really going to put over him? Odo, again, he's just like a rock for Rogue. He's always so consistent, so good. If we look at some of the other teams, Arma with Mad Lions, I don't really think has been all that great. I think he's maybe been a little bit better down the stretch, and I think Arma's definitely been better in summer than he was in spring, but I'm not putting Arma over any of these guys. Misfits top laner, Excel with Finn hasn't really been insane. Wonder with Fnatic hasn't really been all that great. Chachi, SK, BDS, there's not a lot of great top laners in the LEC. You're really looking at the 3 good top laners in the LEC and trying to decide between them. G2, especially since they finished with a better record than Rogue and Vitality, obviously with Vitality going 9-10, I don't see any problem putting Broken Blade as first team. And who else would you put over him? Are you going to put Alphari or Odo first team? I don't really think so. So to me, nothing too crazy there. We go to the jungle with Elyoya first team. This one has people a little bit upset. I think a lot of people are not putting Elyoya above Jankos. Elyoya was good this split. He was fine. I'm not saying Elyoya did bad, but when we go look at the bottom two teams, we have Jankos and Marcoon. Marcoon really impressed me. I'm glad that Marcoon is on one of these 3 teams. I think he absolutely deserves it. I think he was the standout. Every time I watched Excel, it was Marcoon making an early game play, making some interesting path, getting stuff done. I think Marcoon set up so much of what this team was doing. And Marcoon's actually set to be a free agent as well, so that could be pretty interesting, pretty spicy. Good time for him to have a good season. Even if he just resigns with Excel, he's going to end up getting more money. So that was cool. But Jankos was really good, especially down the stretch for G2. So much of what G2 does is through the mid lane and through the jungle. Now, obviously, people are complaining that Mad Lions got 4 of the 5 slots, and I don't want to just pile a bunch of G2 players into my first team either. It's are the fans going to be happier if we end up with 4 G2 players instead? I don't know. So I actually don't mind Elyoya being first team. I think Elyoya 1, Jankos 2, with Marcoon 3. I think that's okay too. Top lane and jungle, I don't have too much of a problem with. I think they're fine. Could you put Jankos at first team? Yeah, sure. I'd be fine with that too. But like I said, I would like to get some other players in here. I don't like that this is just a Mad Lions team, and I also wouldn't like it if it's just a G2 team. And I think some of these other G2 players are probably more deserving. When we go to the mid lane, Nisqy was an awesome story this year. He took Mad Lions from a 7th place team to tied for first. They end up as the 2 seed, whatever. This was crazy. And I think that narrative and that storyline gives Nisqy a great case for MVP. I think he has shown his value so much. You're so valuable that you can take a team that didn't even make playoffs and bring them up to the spot where not only are they making playoffs, but they're going to be in title contention now. They're probably going to be going to Worlds, despite the fact that they were the 7th best team in spring. But, and even with a couple weeks ago in the LEC, I would have said, hey, Nisqy might be the best mid in the LEC right now. He might be playing the best, whatever. When you look at the season as a whole, especially down the stretch, I cannot say that Nisqy was a better player than Caps. I can see the argument for Niski as an MVP. I cannot see the argument for Niski as first team All-Pro. Now, some people think it's the same team. Some people think it's the same thing. Some people say, oh, MVP should just be who's the best, who played the best, whatever. That's not how I see it. I think it's subjective. I think value shows like what you did for your team, you know, how much like value provided, how much extra stuff. And I think the case of Niski is very, very clear. I don't think the MVP has to be the best player or anything like that. I think it's the most valuable. If it was just the best player, we should just call it the best player award. So I think Niski has an interesting case for MVP, but I think Caps absolutely should have been first team All-Pro. I think Caps is still playing insane. I think he had an insane run in the spring playoffs. He looked crazy during certain times at MSI. Maybe he doesn't look that crazy right now, but there's no way I'm taking Niski over Caps right now. And I think Caps is really, really, really going to shine in the playoffs, and he might even gap Niski a couple times and really start to make this kind of a joke. Then we have Unforgiven at 80 carry. I don't have a problem with this. I think Unforgiven was a crazy, crazy story. He had so many pop-off performances. Unforgiven Draven being this absolute monster, this absolute beast. I think that was really, really cool. I think Comp maybe has some case. Neon was also very, very good. I think these 380 carries were all very, very close. If you had Comp as first team, I wouldn't, be totally upset. I think Unforgiven probably deserves a nod as the first team All-Pro 80 carry. Comp has been good. Neon has been quietly very, very good. I think he's really, really underrated. But honestly, one of the biggest positions that I have issue with is you wouldn't take Niski over Caps. Zero credibility, says somebody in the chat. I think they're just joking, but that's funny. Somebody else says the All-Pro was terrible. Yes, I agree. This All-Pro was pretty terrible. I think people, are rightfully so mad. But yes, somebody in the Twitch chat just said it. Targamas robbed. That's where I'm going. I think the worst selection on this whole All-Pro voting was Kaiser as the first team All-Pro support. I cannot believe that they didn't give it to Targamas. I honestly thought that Targamas was a sleeper MVP candidate. This guy had, I think, over 200 assists or something like that, like a number that not very many people ever get. And this guy coming in, not as a rookie, but as like a very, very inexperienced player, I thought he did so much for G2, especially when you see that his 80 carry is not in the top 3 teams. Flockhead was not insane this year. It's not like Targamas was just stomping with some godlike 80 carry and they were running everybody over. Targamas, while playing with a not top 3 80 carry, was still able to get so much done for this G2 team. You saw what this G2 team looked like with Mickey last year, and replacing Mickey really, really hard. He's an insane player. He's had an insane career. He's an all-time great. Targamas came in and looked better with G2 this year than Mickey did last year. He helped G2 level up. He took a team that didn't go to Worlds last year and is now locked in the first seed and was the first team in all of the world to be going to Worlds. I think you cannot understate how much Targamas has meant to this G2 team. Yes, Caps and Jankos have been insane. They've been awesome, but Targamas has absolutely stepped up, and Targamas not having a spot on this first team All-Pro to me was crazy. I like Kaiser. I think Kaiser's very, very good, but if it was me, I'm taking BB, Elyoya, Caps, Unforgiven, and Targamas, and I think that would be a much better All-Pro team selection, and it would also just make more sense. G2 ended up getting the 1 seed. They'd have 3 players. Mad Lions got the 2 seed. They'd have 2 players, and then you sprinkle in some of the other players from the other teams down here. It doesn't make sense that G2 and Mad Lions ended up with the same record, and Mad Lions gets 4 players into the first team, and G2 only gets 1, and it's not even G2's best player, or G2's second best player, or G2's third best player. That's just crazy to me, and I think that was crazy to a lot of other people. Looking at the rest of the list, like I said, I think Marcoon was a really, really awesome selection for third team. Targamas gets in at second team. Cap second team. Yanko second team. Like, that's what some people are saying, that, hey, this second team would beat this first team, and I agree with that. This second place team would spank this first place team. That is just, making no sense to me at all. And then we have the third team, which I think is just overall an interesting team. Trimby, glad to see that this guy's developed so much. When he first got into, Rogue, it was a little bit sus. I wasn't totally sold on Trimby, but he's become very, very good. Neon and VTO, the main carries for Misfits, they've been a good surprise this year. Marcoon was an absolute monster, and then you have Odo in the top lane as well. A lot of people upset that Upset is not in any All-Pro team. Could you have put Upset third team over Neon? Yeah, you absolutely could, but I do think it's cool that Neon kind of made it in as well. And Upset was a monster down the stretch and helping Fnatic get into the playoffs, but it's not like Upset was that monster the whole season or anything like that. So I don't know. I'm not too upset about that one. The main one that I was upset about was Kaiser over Targamas, and I wish they would have gave my boy some more credit. But that's it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about these all-pro teams. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Come check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. Come hang out with me and the chat. We're having a good time over here. It's been really, really fun. I think we're going to be streaming a lot more lately. Hopefully we catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.